Hey, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's Wednesday. We have a guest. We don't just have any guest. We are going to take a deep dive today. Today we have Dr. April Brown with us, and we're going to be talking everything intimacy, relationships, dating, and sex. And we will be right back because we can't start without listening to the music. I'll see you in a minute. Welcome to the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. I'm Vicki Helm. This is the Coffee Break Show, and it is brought to you by Metadime Digital Network. And today we are with Dr. April Brown. I just want to say welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Yes, welcome. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I want to let you know, I see you guys popping on. Do me a favor. If you want to be part of the conversation, go to the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel, and you can be part of the conversation and put your name down below and have a talk with us. Today, I'm doing something that I've never done on this show before, and I'm so excited to be talking about, everybody talks about it all the time. I mean, one of the biggest parts of our lives is our relationship with others, to the self. And today we're going to be talking with Dr. Brown about intimacy. And before we even get started with what you think intimacy is, I want to get the good doctors. I want the definition of what that intimacy is. I see you guys popping on. Nice to see you on it. Be part of the conversation. So, can I call you Dr. April?
Yes, that's what I go by. Yes.
Okay, let's just, all right, Dr. April, let's start with what's the definition of intimacy, and also how is the state of intimacy in the world right now?
Okay, the definition of intimacy, and it can be individual for each person, but really what it means is that intimate connection into me you see. That connection, whether it's with your higher power, with yourself, with your community, and of course with your loved ones. It's that strong bond that you
Beautiful.
see the person and you both are in the same location, mind, spirit, and soul, that mindfulness. Definitely. And with the world today,
Mindfulness.
yes, the world today, I would love to say that we're more intimate, but in reality, we're
Yes.
not.
Yes, I want to stop right there. I know you have more to say, but that is the key, isn't it? Right there. Let's talk about that. We're more intimate, but we're not. Tell us more a little bit about that. What do you mean by that?
So we're more, like you said, we're more intimate, but we're more sometimes interaction, but we're not always present.
Yes.
You understand that a lot of people live life and they're not present. Their body is there, but their
Yes.
mind, spirit, and
Yes.
soul somewhere else. And when you're truly intimate, because we're having an intimate moment right now, that
Yeah,
you
we
and
are.
we may be in different places, but we're here together in this present moment. And
Hmm.
that, when you combine that and with all forms of life, it just makes a pure, intimate life.
It's interesting because we don't understand what quality of life is for ourselves. And you just said something that I think is so empowering. One is that for me, mindfulness is one of the most important parts of intimacy because you have to be present to be intimate. And the thing is, what exactly is being present? Let's talk about the mindfulness and the presence piece of it, because in order to be intimate, you have to be there. And you said, there's the physical and the spiritual, and let's roll that together to get a kind of a vast view of what intimacy could be when people are mindful and present.
What I mean by being present is actually hearing, listening, smelling, feeling everything at the exact moment right now. Many of us,
Mm,
I had sessions this morning, and sometimes people call me about not being able to be very intimate or sexual with their partner. Sometimes it's
yes.
because that people are so focused on what the things they have to do coming up, or
Yes.
they're stuck in their trauma in their past. And
Yes.
sometimes you may not realize that you may get stuck in your trauma or things that are in the past, because our body keeps score. There's a book called Body Keeps Score. So you get triggered. So your body has this trigger response, which triggers this unconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you leave your body, but medically, spiritually, psychologically, it's so much healthier to be in the present moment. That's the only thing we can control.
That's really the only thing there actually is. Everything's either
Exactly.
future or past, right? So that's
Yes.
really great. I am enjoying this, and I want to go back to being present, because I think for me, um, I'm going to get very, I'm going to be revealing. You guys just deal with me. It's okay. But let's go there. To me, the act of being sexual with someone can't even happen for me if there isn't a level of presence. There isn't a level of, I know that there are some people that can be disconnected during not just sex, but just in conversation. And if I feel disconnect, I don't feel somebody present. There isn't a sensation of, oh, let's go to the next step with them. It's
Right.
like, if you can't be present or fully present, how do couples work on or even being present with yourself? Because this is intimacy has got layers, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
There's a lot. There's not just intimacy, isn't just two people joining together trying to have sex slowly or whatever
Right.
later. Tell us about intimacy overall, because isn't there a part of you that has to know yourself, and that's intimacy as well?
Right, definitely. And you have to show up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in the couple I had earlier, um, she loves her husband, loves him, loves him, loves him. But because she hasn't dealt with stuff in herself, the body image and all this other stuff. So she's sitting there criticizing herself.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Oh my gosh,
Interesting.
my boob is whatever. It's not as
Mm-hmm.
firm as what it should be, or
That's
whatever.
that's a woman's conversation, isn't it? And the man's not even saying that. He's just like, you're beautiful, and you're like, it's not, it was better
Yes.
before.
Right, right. So you've already left the scene.
That's right.
Yes. So it's like you said, that true intimacy with
Mm-hmm.
self. I'm a spiritual person. So spirituality, if you have that connection with your spirit, you actually get to know your purpose, who created you, and be okay with you,
Amen to that.
loving you,
Oh,
and
you
not
are preaching
judgmental.
it well today. This is the conversation I could have over and over again. I want to talk about that, because there is, I think, a propaganda assault, is what I'm going to call it, to especially women, to take us out of that. What if you could actually stay in the moment and say, this moment was created perfectly, and I was created perfectly for this moment, the way I look, the way I am, the way I sound, etc. For women, what if women could actually be present in that way? I don't know. Maybe men have that thing, but I don't know many men who do.
Right. And Vicky, yeah, if people were able to just do that, I would probably not be in business in the sense of the mental health aspect. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I talk to women about being gentle to themselves, not saying anything negative, they look at me like, what? Not
Yeah.
saying anything negative to ourselves? Yeah. We're so critical, and we're critical with ourselves as women. And then we, I don't know, have babies, and we become critical to our daughters, trying to
Yes.
prepare them for the
Yes.
world.
Oh
You
my
know what I'm
gosh.
saying? And then that's how that
Handed
goes.
down. It's handed
Yes.
down. I want to pop over here. We got people popping on. Sean, I was just commenting on the topic of dating being talked about. I wouldn't know how the dating world works after 15 years of marriage. Yes, that's an interesting thing. Dating now is vastly different,
Yes.
vastly different. And I'm wondering if we could talk about dating for a little bit. And because right now, what I don't like about dating is that we aren't actually dating. That thing you said about being present, the algorithm is present first. We put a bunch of data in there, and I want this and this and this and this. You don't know what you want, you're just guessing. And then all these choices show up, and you're not actually, to me, I kind of miss that. That divine aspect of it, where you meet someone and it feels kind of auspicious and you get a sense or a feeling, and then you're like, let's go have a cup of coffee, not like shopping for a man or shopping for a woman.
Yes, definitely. For many people who are coming out of relationships, they first need to check their heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because sometimes relationships, or for all relationships, they kind of beat up our hearts. And when you enter into another relationship, well, you want to have as much of a clean heart as possible. Sometimes we have these hearts that have holes in it. When you break up in a relationship and it feels like a knife just went through you, and then there's this big
Yeah.
hole. Yes, yes. So you want to heal it as much as possible. I'm not saying it's got to be tremendously healed, but as much as as possible, so you don't fill it with unhealthy things like
Mm-hmm.
alcohol and all a variety of things.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, you also, I think, really need to know what you're looking for and what you bring to the table.
Mm-hmm. Say more about that.
Yes. Okay. So, in the sense of what you bring to the table, if you don't know yourself, if you can't truly love yourself, you're not going to be able to love the next person. Or
That's true.
you're going to meet someone who tells you a bunch of stuff. One day when I was out there in the dating world, someone says I couldn't. Oh, you don't listen. And if I didn't know myself and say to myself, I am a good listener. I know I can listen. This person's not for me, and move on. Other people
Yeah.
take in that stuff and say, oh my gosh, the person said this and this and this. The number third aspect is knowing what you want, because it's
Mm.
also putting out in the atmosphere. So it's
Yeah.
really great spiritually, of course, to talk to your higher power. That helps you determine who you are and also what you want to bring out. But let's say, even in the sense of, I know I don't want a cigarette smoker.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that down, you need to stick to it. I don't care how cute that guy is. And if he's smoking, then you like, oh, that doesn't matter to me. And then you date, and the next thing you know, you're arguing about him smoking in the car. So
Mm-hmm.
that is really important. And then the other thing, like you said, it's getting out there and getting to know people, which is so difficult now with COVID.
So
With
true.
Yes, that most people are
So
just,
interesting.
yeah, they're just dating people or going online, seeing stuff. And you have to realize that stuff that's online may not actually be the true person.
Absolutely. Everybody puts their best foot forward.
Right,
Yeah. It's the
right.
same way in dating in person too. When you meet somebody, they put their best foot forward. You need a little time and investment. You need that first hiccup, to
Yes,
see what it
yes.
really is.
Yes, it's really important to see how a person interacts in stress.
I want to pop over here because you guys are talking a mile a minute. Thank you for being here. Being present requires a lot of intentional attention towards the pleasing of the other person,
Mm.
which requires you to be confident in yourself first. That's interesting. That's true. I have a bit of that. You want to be, I don't know, confident as more as self-love and awareness in the moment. If you want to be present with someone, to me, the being present, this is the first and foremost, the practice that we do on this show. And you guys have heard this before. For me, the practice of here I am, warts and all, to be that open right up front. What you see is what you get. That helps the other person identify in them if their interest is there. For me, that being authentic is the key to absolutely every piece of authenticity and intimacy you can have. That to me, I want to say that being present inside a conversation with someone, I just want to say, when I check people out, when I'm checking somebody out, there's one thing I'm going to notice. I'm going to notice if you're being present, that's the full stop. Do I think that you're sharing authentically? Are you nervous or trying to impress me or blah, blah, blah? And what I'm hoping to create when I meet someone, whether it's for a date or a relationship or even on this show, is to be able to just meet us where we're at, so that there's some sort of divinity that happens. The why is this person in front of you anyway? It's because there's like 8 billion people on the planet. So, and thank you for that, Sean. That's really great. And I see all the rest of you guys. I want to keep going with her.
Can I say one thing about
Yes,
something that Sean said?
certainly. Yeah.
There's another word he used in there was pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I saw that.
yes. And so many of us uh, we're people pleasers, and we please everybody but ourselves. And then when I'm saying self-love and stuff, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm a Christian. Isn't that kind of selfish?
Oh, of course. Of course, that would be the
Yes.
question, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I'm not that kind of Christian, I guess.
Yes. But in all the religions,
Yeah.
Christianity, Muslim, and everything,
Yeah.
Buddhism, it's love your neighbor as yourself.
As, not
There's
before,
not
not,
before, there's a
that's right.
big as. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so how this plays out is sometimes people are not authentic because they're putting them other people before them. I'm doing this, but they're not taking care of themselves.
Mm,
And that's not how the universe really wants us to be.
that's true.
Yeah. So that's got it's something that affects the whole dating aspect, affects intimacy and sex and all that. You give, but then you have nothing left for yourself. Then you have no
Wow.
energy, you're exhausted, you can't sleep, you're worrying about, oh my gosh, what did this person say to me? What's on social media? It's just this whole thing. Yeah.
I want to go deep into some things right now. I want to talk about the famed soulmate and those people who believe there's soulmates and soulmate, etc. And they're on the hunt for their soulmate. And what are your thoughts on soulmates, etc. On soulmates and or relationships? I mean, tell me what your thoughts on the soulmate theory is.
So definitely, and one thing you said earlier is about your higher power and why a person is in front of me.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I've spent many times with my higher power saying why this person's in front of me. And sometimes that person is there to date, to get to know this, to get to know that. Sometimes that person is not there for you to date, but it has another purpose, but we think it's to date. Some
Mm-hmm.
relationships are meant to be 30, 40 years, 50. You're great at it. Some people come into your life for a season.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You love and you have a wonderful time, and then it's not, yeah, it's not that time anymore, and it's for something else. That's why when I talk about intimacy, you really have to connect with your higher power in the
Mm.
sense of even when we go back to soulmates.
Yes.
Yes, I would love to say that all of us are supposed to have a soulmate
Mm-hmm.
from 18 to when we die.
Yeah.
But that's not how in reality it really is. But who knows that answer and who can lead you is listening to that inner spirit.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I call that
What
the inner master.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
thing that
And
has
that will
that to me,
connect
that's
you.
my soulmate right there.
Right. That would connect you to whether you have one, two, Yes.
You
Does that
know,
answer your question?
it does, Dr. Brown. And what I want to say is this that she just spoke about is also in business.
Oh,
In
yes.
it's more in business than anything else. And over the years, you guys know I have had 18 businesses, but not all of them have been successful. I've had a couple of, crash and burns in there. But what I started looking for that helped me with choosing that business partner is I get what could be termed as a soulmate feeling. Like the business partners that I've worked with now and in the past, there's a certain feeling that happens where my higher power is saying to yourself, pay attention to this. This has something to do. And the thing is, I think where intimacy and divinity meet, where intimacy and divinity meet is when you stop naming what it is. Like a man and a woman meet and they feel that divinity, and suddenly it means we're supposed to get married, have kids, buy a house. Da, da, da. What does the intimacy have to say? And you were talking just a minute ago about there being a season, a reason, and a timing to this. And if you can listen to the season, the reason, and the timing to this, wouldn't it make sense to listen to what the intimacy or that feeling had to say as well?
Yes, definitely. And Vicky, we haven't really talked about my businesses, but in reality, started off as an accountant.
So did I. That's
Yes, and
so
I was like,
weird.
yeah, I love numbers and stuff, and just
I
wasn't
don't.
you drill in numbers and stuff. And my higher power said to quit my job, and I was like, why? Okay. Then it said to go back to school and do this, and I said, I'm too shy. I don't like people. This is not it. It kept on me. I said, get me into one school if I get in. Yeah. And throughout the time, that higher power has told me, go here. I've done
Yes.
that. And then it said, stop. And I
Yes.
was like, what? Didn't you just tell me to be here? Now you want me over here?
Yeah.
It's so important, like you said, to listen,
Mhm.
to hear
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And when I know that, like at this moment, I'm supposed to be here, right here with you,
Oh, that makes my hair stand up when you say
I'm
that.
at peace.
Hmm.
I don't have to worry.
That's like living present in the moment and surrendering to the divinity in you to guide you forward. Let's say, Dr. April, I really want to get this for people who are on right now. She has books that can help you learn the intimacy because you have a series of books, right? And I want to pop up, show them to people, talk about them, where they can get them. And Robin, will you put it in the thread? Somebody put it in the thread below. But let's talk about the person who has decided, okay, I'm tired of having sucky relationships and I really want to learn the intimacy thing. And I think you should talk about the difference between vulnerability and intimacy as well, because I think they're two different things. And how do you learn to first have intimacy in general and then with yourself? And how does the process go?
Okay. So vulnerability really means is to be open. Okay. And to be open, you need to at first be open with yourself. And when you're open with yourself and you get to know yourself, then you have that connection that I love myself no matter what. And if you have that connection, of course, with who created you, whatever you call that is, then that means, okay, I am in love with myself. I know, and I know my purpose. And that can lead you to the different people in your lives that can help you develop intimacy in a variety of things. In my book, I talk about learning how to be intimate with yourself, your spirit, the inner spirit, which is I call your
Hmm.
higher power, and in your relationships. Because that's key, and it's not only the book does, the series go does talk about intimacy with your significant loved one, but also with your children, with a variety of different things. It's a series of books. There's four more
Hold
coming
them up.
out.
Hold them up. Do you have them?
Okay, yes. So I
Let's hold
have
them up.
the first book here.
Let's.
It's called Improving Intimacy, so you guys can see. And it's a general concept. Okay. The second book is about self. It's called Improving Intimacy. You see there's a girl on there. And self, it's loving self. The third one is just everyday expression of improving intimacy. Book 4 is coming out for the holidays,
That's
which is
exciting.
about great sex. And we have a book coming on culture because you know how this world is and how you even
That's
act
right.
about it.
I feel you. Yep.
Yes, and then later on in 2022, we have a big book that will cover all of these with more in-depth information. And that's one way that we do it. But I also, which you may or may not know, I also do retreats to help people develop intimacy,
Cool.
hands-on experience. Yes.
All right.
So yes.
So you can grab the books by Dr. April's website. You can also get them on Amazon. Would you do me a favor and pull up the Amazon link? draprilbrown.com/store. Now, if you're driving and you're listening on iHeartRadio or Pandora or Roku, wherever you are doing your thing, relax. That'll be in the show notes. You can just click on the link from the show notes and it'll take you right over there. We'll put the Amazon address as well in there. And now I want to drop in because I know y'all want to talk about sex and you're all like, oh,
Yes.
intimacy and sex, let's do this. And I am, it's so interesting. I'm going to tell you that conversations about sex on a Facebook Live. I think this is great. So listen, if you have a question for her and you're a little too shy and you're like, I don't want to ask my question in front of everybody on Facebook, where can they get a hold of you? Do you have a place where they can talk with you? And we'll put that up as well. And then we'll get to the sex questions.
Oh, yes. It's easy for most people to remember. Just do www.draprilbrown.com. My name's spelled April like the month, Brown like the color, and draprilbrown.com. You can, yeah, Google me, answer all my emails and stuff. So, yes, definitely.
Okay, so I want to talk about 3 areas of sex, and I hope I cover your area. If I do not cover your area, you let me know. I want to talk about sex before marriage, sex after marriage, sex 20, 30 years into marriage when there are changes in the body, and how you can continue to have great sex, how you can, get your love life juiced up again when it's, when you've done everything and you're like, okay, I'm bored. Or, how do you get all of that how do you have great sex throughout life?
Okay, number one is the belief system. Okay. Yes, your higher power created sex. Okay. And he created whoever your higher power, but it was created not only just to have babies, but for pleasure. Okay. So all the negative stuff that sex is just a duty or whatever, or that women aren't supposed to really enjoy it. Let's get that stuff.
Yeah, that's a big fat lie, guys.
Okay. Number 2, of course, is knowing your body. Being comfortable in your own skin. Knowing what you like and what you don't like, knowing what's sensitive on your body. So it's okay to explore your body. I know, like, oh my gosh, boys do it at a young age because they have this external thing. But women, many of us could not, if you hold up all our vaginas, we couldn't even pick it out.
Wow.
Men could pick out their junk. Okay.
Yeah, that one's mine. Yes, right.
Yes.
Or they'd lie and go, that one's mine.
But be okay however it looks. Because that's yours. Love it. Yes. Okay. Also, in your early 20s or before marriage or whatever, being okay to say what you like and what you don't like. Women many times lose their voices. And guys out there, listen when a woman says stuff. Listen. And sex, for women, take time for them to get aroused. It's not like that, men. You don't think you just go in there and bing, bing, bang. No, there is a lot of foreplay, and foreplay is fun. And when I look at sex, you look at it as a playground. Go on to a playground and play. Let's not so much, because so many times we get so focused on the final outcome of orgasms that we get stuck in our head. Why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? And this even happens for men, that they get this kind of performance anxiety. But what if you were to focus on just being present and just playing? Having
just
fun.
Being with that person.
And being with that person, yes. So that definitely helps, especially as you get older. The other part that definitely helps, especially if you're from 30 to 50, is learning that it requires you to have some energy.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So if you have a partner,
stop eating those greasy burgers.
Yeah, the greasy burgers, the health thing. But it also takes a lot of our energy. Is that we give out so much in the day to so much other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Children.
As women, as children, we just run around, do 50 million things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, trying to please everybody. And then we have no energy.
Yep.
And when we get home, we don't even want anyone to touch us.
Yeah, we just want to rest.
We just want to rest. Yes, yes. It's okay to slow it down, to just do everything at 100%, not 300%.
Yeah.
Yeah. In all honesty, when it comes to customer service, guys, the people at home, your partner, is where you're supposed to show your number one customer service. Those people are going to be with you, hopefully, for a longer time period than, your client.
When I just thought of this, and probably because, it's been way long. I want to talk about Christianity and sex. And the reason I do is because I want to talk about premarital
Okay,
sex,
premarital
because
sex. Yes.
it's afterwards, it's okay. You're
Right.
supposed to be able to do this. But prior to that, there can be a lot of guilt or a lot of shame about your maybe sexuality. Like, if you're being true to yourself, and maybe you have these what beliefs about Christianity and or any religious. I'm just
Right.
using Christian because that's, I think, the most dogmatic. But and being pure and being, you know, a certain way, etc. How do we break through some of the I don't even want barriers, or how do we move past? Because I don't think sex in love is not shameful no matter what. And I think
Right.
a lot of people feel ashamed, and then they feel guilty, and that plays out in their relationship and etc. When they have sex like that.
Right. Right. Which is, how can I put it? You shouldn't be afraid to talk to your inner spirit, to listen. Okay. It is an
Mm-hmm.
intimate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's not a relationship built on judgment.
Yes.
Yes. But a lot of us feel judged. Maybe
That's
we,
right. That's
yes.
beautiful what you just said. Beautiful and empowering.
Right. Right. Your maker is a better parent than you and I.
That's true. I'm going to go with that. I know that.
Yes, yes, yes. And so, and as parent, I'm a parent. I want my person and my kid to come to me when they're suffering and they're hurting.
Yeah.
But many of us don't want to talk to our inner spirit. We feel judged or whatever. Your inner spirit loves you. That's your guide. That
Mm,
knows everything from the trauma of whatever happened to you to
that's
get you
right.
to where you're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the thing we don't want to do is to live with so much guilt.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
That
not,
sucks.
that sucks. Yeah. You want to be able to be present and enjoy whatever you're enjoying and not feeling guilty about it.
Yeah. And that to me is, we all want more quality of life, but what exactly does that mean to have quality of life? And this is part of the quality of life, is confronting those places where you hide yourself, where you
Right.
don't accept yourself, where you feel like you're judging or being judged. And most of the time when you're being judged, it's you that's judging you first. And these unearthing these things and allowing yourself to enjoy what you enjoy, and allowing yourself to be present with people, because I know that there's the era of, I want to talk to men out there, and we're just going to be talking about this. You'll go blind if you masturbate, because they'll be,
Yes.
you know what I mean, and
Yes.
enjoying what you enjoy. That to me is that shame or guilt or whatever. Those are the kinds of lies that really hamper quality of life. They're subtle, they're little, but once you actually talk to them, we're enjoying a type of a mental health and inner well-being. Isn't that right? When we do that, sex isn't just about a one-off, here we go, thing that's, there. Tell us more about the mental health around sex, dating, relationship, and intimacy with the self first.
So the mental aspect is, if you're doing things or feeling things and you're living in so much guilt, then you have shame. And then you talk down to yourself. And
Yeah.
if you talk down to yourself, then you don't want to get up and do things. You're
Mm-hmm.
not motivated to take a shower. You're not motivated, or you're so angry with life. I can't believe this person cut me off. And you just get, or you worry about stuff. What if this happens? Oh my God, what if this person leaves me? What if this? Because I cannot stand to be with self. I don't love myself. And that's what causes depression and anxiety. Depression is that where you feel so down on yourself, you don't like yourself, you feel no energy. What's the point of life? Anxiety is when that heart is rushing, your mind is fluttering with 50 million thoughts. You can't even figure out this and that. You're worried. What if I step here? What if I step there? Do you see how this is
Yes.
all related?
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. And if you're uncomfortable about the spot you're in, that spark you're sharing with that significant other or that child, yeah, it either comes off to them, either as anger, aggression, sadness, or
Yeah.
codependency, or you putting them down, but it's not a connection. You
Mm.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I
Yes,
absolutely see that. It's interesting how the other person will perceive it. It's
right,
interesting, especially kids, because I was thinking in my head while you were talking about it, how they'll interpret what you are doing, saying, or becoming.
right. Now, I do want to say, because I don't want everyone to think, well, oh my gosh, this is something that I can always control. Okay.
Mhm.
There's some of us who have had stuff from genetics.
Oh, interesting. I
Yes,
didn't
like
think about that.
yes, yes. So maybe our parents had depression or anxiety, which does affect the brain,
Mhm,
or addiction. Okay,
mhm,
it affects the brain. And you're born with a certain aspect in your brain.
mhm.
Just like if you were born with a predisposition to being diabetic. Okay. So then you start to grow up. Maybe it surfaces in the beginning. Many times it doesn't. But then you leave the house and you're having to deal with life. And you're in your 20s and there's no mama and papa or grandma.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, I feel so down. I don't even know why. Everything's perfect in my life, but I feel, or you do have some kind of stress or whatever, and your body starts to shake. It's okay. Some of us may need medication
Yeah,
because we were born with that, which is okay. I mean, it
it's
doesn't
that
mean that something is wrong.
self-acceptance.
Yes, it's self
Mhm.
acceptance. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I say it's really good to know that inner spirit talking to you, and they can tell you these things. Some of us will be just fine with therapy, talking to someone. Some of us are fine. Maybe they don't need therapy. They need to work out or go to church or have a group of good friends. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not saying exactly I know what you need, but I do know talking with your inner spirit, understanding your symptoms, and it's okay to seek. Sometimes we don't know, even in the sense of your businesses or jobs or whatever. It's okay to seek. I don't know. I'm feeling this. Let me seek different options. Open those
Yes.
doors and let your higher power tell you which door to close, which door to go through. But do something. Stop staying on the bench. Get up and do something.
That's
That's it.
fantastic. This fantastic. I'm loving this conversation so much. I know a lot of you are like, "Wow, I thought we were gonna talk about how I was gonna get laid more."
Just
But, to me,
forget it.
this is so important because, we're looking at intimacy from a deep place, and intimacy is the inner part of us first. And I love this spiritual connection to self first. I love being present and mindful. I love being in this type of conversation where you get to a point where you can evaluate you in such a way. So I'm getting that we lost connection with you. I'm hoping that this is you're going to pop back on for us because we're in the middle of the conversation. So just click back on. And if you can hear me, just click back on to the link and you'll pop back in there. We are with Dr. April Brown right now. And we have been having this incredible conversation about sex and things like that. I'm going to pop back on. We're going to get rid of this one right here. Boom, there we go. And so thank you for that. We had a little bit of a tech difficulty, but what I
Yes.
was telling them is I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to go back because we didn't quite finish the conversation about sex and aging. Like, how can we, it after, I don't want to label it, but let's say 40 and above into 60 and 70 and 80, continue to enjoy sex when there are changes in the body, and how we can go ahead and even spark some relationship stuff with that.
Right. Well, number one is to recognize the changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then to accept it.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So sometimes it's difficult for women and men, and I'm also going to my 50s, for them to accept their body has changed, whether it's hormonal,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to get hormones, whether it's medication that things aren't performing, but that's
Uh,
okay. That's okay. It's okay to get help. I mean, that's number one.
Thank I wanna talk about that, especially men, did you hear that? Men, it's okay to get help.
Yes, yes. Yes, their pride get hurts. Their pride gets hurt.
Yeah. It's kinda
Yes,
that, you know?
yes. And so what happens in a older relationship is sometimes there's no talk about it.
That's
You
right.
know? Yeah, you
There's
haven't
kinda
touched
we're gonna
me.
be best friends about it or something.
Right, right. You haven't touched me. I haven't touched you, and we don't talk about it. Then we have this resentment.
Mhm.
Maybe because it's my body changes and you're looking at me. But instead of us sitting there and talking about it and saying, things haven't been the same. I wonder what's missing, you know?
Mhm.
And you're gonna have to talk about it from I, not you. Because then that puts a person in defense mode. And when a person's in defense mode, they're not gonna really say it. Okay. Number
Yes.
two, number two, that it does take a little bit more time, to get romantic or get in. Yeah, it's not a wang bang thing. Yes, it's
Yeah.
going to take time, which is okay because we should not be so rushing in life anyway.
Yeah. It's so interesting how that happens, isn't it? It's like
Yes,
that taking your time is key.
right, right. And then you have to define what is true intimacy for you as an older couple. What does it look like?
Mhm.
Be realistic. And enjoy the finer things in life that you can really enjoy as you get older. Maybe it takes more romantic dinners or just a nice pure walk on the beach or whatever the case may be, and holding a person.
That's nice, yes.
You know what I'm
Being
saying?
cuddles
Being
are great.
cuddled. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And being there for a person when a person experiences radiation, breast cancer,
Mhm.
all this stuff. Those are truly intimate moments.
Yeah.
And when you are truly seeing your love,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what
Mhm.
they look like, how their body has changed, if they have no hair, whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's love. Yep, I
Yeah,
got
that
you.
that intimate connection, because in
Love
all
that.
honesty, many times people can actually have orgasms without gentle parts even touching because it
Hmm.
starts here.
Of
And
course.
and it starts here in the heart.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you really felt your partner was there for you and
Mhm.
you guys are both in that intimate experience, wow, that chilling, and you have the presence of the spirit there.
That's gorgeous. I know that place. I know where you're talking. I love that. I want to talk about, how do I say, I'm trying to think of the words. I wanna talk about rekindling intimacy in a relationship. And I don't just mean sex. And I know a lot of times there's let's go on date night. But you talked about, if you're with a partner for 20, 30 years or 20 years or more, you're pretty much got their groove. You know when they're angry, happy, mad, sad, afraid, tired, whatever. And you know what they act like or whatever. And it can become rote. It can become
Right.
habit. And if you want to introduce some more intimacy or more awareness or just kind of rekindle something inside the relationship that's exciting instead of habitual, what are some of the things we can do? It's to me, it's not always about sex. I mean, the sex is an important part and I like it. It's fun. And there are other things about the person that I've identified that I have to love before the sex even happens, you know? And when you get to the point where you're on 20 years plus, how can you generate more intimacy between the two of you? And let's say one of you is maybe um standoffish or something or busy with their life, etc.
Right. Well, number one, I would say to try new things.
Try
You know,
new things.
yes, yes. Whether it means that you try playing a game together that you guys have never played before,
Mhm.
because laughter and humor
Yeah, that's a great one. That's
is
really,
is
yeah.
a form of intimacy that, yeah,
Mhm.
you people can connect. You can always try something, and if you don't like it, it's okay. You move on to something else. And you can try, of course, blindfolds and other sexual things too, but try something new. Try something new outside of the bedroom. Try something new inside the
Inside the
bedroom.
bedroom. That's a great idea. I wanna talk
So,
about
okay.
finish,
Okay. Yeah.
finish.
Yeah. The other thing is, I do offer experiences for people to try new things. I'm doing actually a Rekindle
Love it.
intimacy retreat in Costa Rica. Yes,
Ooh,
yes,
Costa
in February.
Rica.
Yes, that couples can come to, and we're trying a whole bunch of new things to help rekindle that. But the point
Love
is to
that.
try new things, try new atmospheres.
Yes, I think traveling to exotic places are always fun for that. That's always good.
Yes,
I wanna go here because I I think this is an important part of the conversation. I wanna talk about intimacy after trauma. And I know that
yes,
it's like maybe 3 things. Let's say one of you has experienced trauma, and whether it's physical or mental trauma, whatever it is, let's talk about 3 things they can do to help themselves through whatever trauma is. And I don't mean just sexual violence. It could be
right.
a loss of a spouse. It could be a bad breakup where, that to me, anything that's trauma.
Okay. I'm just going to start on the sexual part and I'll go down just because that came to my
Hmm.
mind. So there's a thing called sensei focus. Okay. Where, and I'm just going to keep it very simple, where a partner, you have two people, one person lays naked, and then the other person slowly touches them from the head all the way to the foot and flip them over. And the person that's laying there, the point is not to have sex, but the point is to understand your body. But the person that's laying there says, this feels good, this doesn't feel good, this is soft, hard. And sometimes in that process, people realize where
Mm.
trauma has been,
And where it's hiding in their
where,
body.
where it's hiding in
Interesting.
their body. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh,
So
on
interesting.
my neck here, this feels different than if you touch the neck.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then and that's, you go into counseling and a variety of stuff. Then you feel like, oh my gosh, maybe when I was younger, this person, took advantage of me, XYZ.
Yes.
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 Right. There's a thing called the body keeps score. So the body remembers everything.
Cellular
So
memory.
cellular memory, yes.
Yep.
So
I'm with you.
if you're feeling that you freeze up in sex, or if you have pain,
Hmm.
yes, many times it's because of trauma that you haven't resolved, okay, that you're still holding on to,
Hmm.
okay. As a partner, sometimes it's come out as, oh my gosh, this person has been rejecting me for sex, doesn't like me and stuff
Mm.
and all that. But really, it's been trauma.
Mm.
That's why that
Amazing.
self awareness is really
That's
important.
key. It's so
It's
key.
key. Yes. And if you've had trauma, it's really good to get professional help to work through it.
Yep.
Okay. The other thing is, if you had trauma, when it comes to sex, it's really important to make sure that if you're trying to be intimate, you actually see your partner. Because when you close your eyes or you use blindfolds or you turn off all the lights, sometimes your mind
And run away with you.
run away with you
Yep.
and you
Yep.
freeze up
Interesting.
and you've left your body because of something.
Mhm.
And then this person who loves you is
Mhm.
trying to do things and that feels hurtful because you've already, yeah. Or you come
Mhm.
back, yeah. It's all kind of connected.
This is so interesting, and I want to share with you that I think it's really important for men to realize they can have sexual trauma as well.
Oh,
And a
yes.
lot of time we have it all wrapped up in women have trauma, but this is so important what she said. It's okay to get help. We're looking I know that some of you people think if we have to go see a sex therapist, then I suck in bed. That is
It's
not
not.
that's so far from the truth. And to be able to get help with this is about raising your quality of life and raising your mental and emotional health. And this is what's so important about working with the right context for what this type of therapy does. And one of them is, if there is trauma, it can be both in the man and in the woman, or one or the other. But we can't always just say, women are the victimized people here. Men are also that as well. And so thank you for that, because I think that's so important to, one, get help. And this exercise that she just touched from head to toe where that hurts, you'll know where the trauma is stored in your body. Okay, so now they know where the trauma is stored in their body, and they've done this exercise and they've determined that they want to get help with that. Where I want to go back to the website. If you're in a marriage right now and you're thinking, I'd love to have a vacation where it is a kind of with my partner reigniting, you can go and join one of her Costa Rica, and we'll put everything in. Is going to be, if you're driving, don't worry, just drive safely. And you're listening, it'll be in the show notes today. You can go down in the show notes. We'll put that link to her website there. But when is like the next retreat that you're having in Costa Rica where people can join you? And if they don't want to go, they just want to work one-on-one with you, do you do that?
Okay, yes.
And
So
also put the Amazon link back in there for the books as well.
Okay. Yes, it's okay. So the one thing that I do, it's called retreats. It's called vacation counseling. Okay. And we do it here in Florida, one couple at a time. So if you don't want to be with other couples, you call me up. We create a vacation retreat that's solely for you.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes, it's exclusive. Then we also do a group retreat that's in Costa Rica that's in February. I also do online counseling therapy, once a week or every other week, or however that goes, on relationships and sex and intimacy. It's so important to get help. I want to just go back a little bit about that man and trauma. For men who are out there listening, if you're involved with someone and for some reason you don't have an erection, do not panic.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're young, sometimes these things are going to happen. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to come see me. Okay. Okay. Because I have 20-year-olds who get so like, oh my gosh.
Of course.
It's like, yes. Usually it's just, yes. If you're a little bit older, sometimes what happens is going back to that trauma. You feel like you're not pleasing the women. You hear this trauma if I'm not doing things right, and you get so into this performance anxiety. I'm not doing it right. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it right. Take out of that. Enjoy the person you're with. Just be in the moment. Just play. If you're able to do that, all the body parts will work. If you're able to just enjoy being with the women or the man or whoever you're with, and just enjoy that moment and be there present, the body parts will usually work.
I love that. Thank you. A lot of it is this conversation has gone completely different than I absolutely thought it was. It's fascinating and enriching, and I learned so much from you today. It's such an eye opener to talk about how important intimacy is as a quality of life. And it is so important to know that you can continue to enrich yourself, enrich your marriage, enrich your whole life by learning to be present, having mindfulness, talking to your higher self, and being intimate with everything. And here's the thing. Intimacy is a quality of life, as well as, I think, a skill set. It's a quality of life to be able to be intimate with people. And that means intimate conversations. It's not just intimacy with your own, how am I feeling right now? What do I want in my life? What is it that I'm looking for in a partner? It's about intimate conversations, intimate thoughts. It's so incredible. Yes, I thank you. My better half is up here saying, thank you, Dr. April. Brilliant gold nuggets. There's so much to having quality of life. And for me, the Amazon link for her book is, okay, if you're too shy and you're listening, because I know there's a lot of you out here right now who wanted to ask a question who didn't. I know you did. Here's the books. There they are. They're Amazon. Don't let yourself die with the music inside you. I don't know who the quote is from. Don't let yourself die with your music inside you. Intimacy is the orchestra that plays your music. You have to have it if you want to achieve that quality of life. Last thing for today, let me ask you uh, three things that you would share with somebody about intimacy, about your work, and how it could benefit them. How does this work benefit them? And then also, it's here, right? I want you to put this up. Uh, draprilbrown.com/intimacy hyphen coaching. And so there's intimacy coaching. So let's talk about that. Let's like three things about intimacy coaching that can help couples or singular people.
Right. So one of the things I haven't talked about is the benefits of sex. You know?
I'm all
Yes.
about that.
So remember, I kind of talked about mental health, anxiety, and depression and all that. Sex is one good way of releasing.
Mm-hmm.
Many times we hold on to so much stuff. And when you are actually having sex, you're releasing, and your body, mind, spirit, it's connecting and letting go.
Wow, that's cool.
And so that's one of the things that I help people with. In the sense of you being shy of talking about sex, this isn't something that I was like, oh my gosh, God signed me up, because I came up from a very conservative Christian background.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. But God felt, I call him God, told me it's a mission. I want
Mm.
people to be more intimate, to be more at peace, to let go, and not to carry on all these struggles of life. Let him handle that. You or her, you just deal with being in the present moment.
Yes, just deal with being in the present moment. Doesn't get any more intimate than that.
Yes, yes. And the last thing, of course, is you cannot control other people.
That's right.
You can only deal with yourself. Yes. So treat yourself just as you love other people, and be okay that some people may be in your life for a season, for a reason. And don't be judgmental to yourself. We only have
Beautiful.
one life, and enjoy it.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
Three pieces of solid. I want to let you know I have enjoyed this conversation with you so much. And I want to just thank you for being here, Dr. April. It was such an incredible show today.
Yes.
Now, if you go to the show notes today, everyone, you will find all the links for everything for Dr. April Brown. And you can connect with her, read her books, get coaching, be on vacation. You can do whatever you need to do to give you quality of life. I want to let you know next week we have another fabulous, super fabulous guest. But today, nobody gets out of here without listening to the music. Dr. April, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Mwah! Bye.
Bye.